This video provides an overview of the JDistil Demo application. For detailed information on the JDistil framework and other supporting demos, please refer to the JDistil.com website. So this application was built using the JDistil Eclipse plugin and took approximately 20 minutes to complete. It is hosted on a Glassfish application server accessing a MySQL database. So we'll go ahead and get started. This is the login page for the application. We'll log in as the administrator. So a couple things you get by default for any application you build using the JDistil Eclipse plugin are the codes module and the security module. And we'll start with the codes module. So the codes module consists of a couple of things. One being the maintenance facility here, where we can go in and manage application-specific category values. So obviously in our demo application, we have customer type and product type defined. So we can filter those values, we can paginate through them, we can sort them, we can add, edit, and delete them. And that's a model we'll see, a consistent model we'll see across the application, the applications that are created using the plugin. So we'll continue to see this model, and we'll kind of touch upon it as we move through the demonstration here. So in addition to the maintenance facility you get with the codes module, there are also UI components that go hand in hand with the codes module, and those UI components are used within the custom application code to reference these category values very easily. So and again, there are other demos that go into the details of the codes module and the UI components supported by the codes module or provided by the codes module. So we won't get into those there. The purpose of this is just to provide a high-level overview. The other module that's included is the security module. And the security module provides some maintenance facilities for users and roles. It provides some user-specific functions, such as logging into the application, which we just did, changing our password once we're logged in, and logging off the system, and it's some administrative functions, such as managing users. Again, we can filter. We only have one page, but we can paginate, we can sort, and then we can add, edit, and delete. If we look at a user, we have some basic user attributes that we can define, and we can assign one or more roles to a given user. From a role perspective, we're able to obviously add, edit, delete roles. Same model applies, but here we're able to restrict tasks. And a task, again, without going into too much detail, is basically one or more actions within an application. So in this case, for the tasks that have been defined within the demo application, those tasks represent basically the CRUD operations for a given domain object. So in the case of manage users, that includes viewing users, adding, editing, and deleting users. So for the sales role, those users are not able to access and manage roles or users. From a field perspective, you also have the ability to take fields associated with a given domain object and configure them as being read-only for that particular role, or restricted altogether, in which case a user associated with that role would not be able to see that field within the UI. The other piece of security of the security module is a custom security manager. So within the framework itself, the JDistil framework, it uses a pluggable security manager, and the security module provides its own implementation of that security manager interface. So, and it correlates to what we're seeing right here now in the maintenance portion of the security module. So inherently, the UI components use that security manager for preemptive security. So when the UI is being built, the UI components reference the application-defined security manager to determine, for instance, whether action-based components should be displayed, like menus or buttons, and whether field-specific, value-specific components that are associated with the field should be displayed as read-only or displayed as restricted, in which case the value is masked and not editable. So that's all tied into the UI component model. So you can roll your own security manager and with very little effort still have the same impact to the UI. Now that's on the preemptive side. That same security manager is also used on the back end when data is submitted, for instance. We ensure that there's no restricted action being submitted, and we also ensure that the values that are being submitted for a given action are accessible by that role associated with, by that user's role. So that gives you a high-level overview of the codes module and the security module, right? And those are, again, both included with an application that's generated using the JDistil Eclipse plugin. Now, for the purpose of there's also the other thing that the Eclipse plugin does is it allows you to create custom, specific to your application, what we call application fragments, and they kind of map to the same model we've been discussing so far, which is if we go look at something like suppliers. Again, we have the ability to filter our data, we have the ability to sort our data, and we have the ability to paginate through our data, right? And then obviously add, edit, and delete that data. Now, something else that we can do is we can create parent-child relationships when we're creating these application fragments. So here we have a supplier that has 2 children, contacts and products. So we can go into contacts, see the contacts for that supplier. Here, again, we've chosen with a limited number of contacts not to have filtering or pagination. Now, if we go back to products, we can see that we have filters for our products. We have pagination, and we have the ability to add, edit, and delete those products. And the other piece that we're highlighting here is that parent-child relationship creates a breadcrumb. So we can drill down as, however many relationships we create, excuse me, our breadcrumbs will continue to be created so that we can go back to where we were. And we'll see that when we look at customers. But then shippers is just a simple set of data, no filtering, no pagination. But if we go into customers, this is where we drill down a little further. So we can go in, and we'll actually show some of the capabilities here. If we filter and say postal code 28012, we apply these filters. We can see that our data set smaller. We paginate, it's the customer, and then we can actually drill down into purchase orders. And again, from a fragment perspective, we have the same model. Filtering, if that's based on date, and our options for that. Now here we can go in, let's go back to so here we can go in and we can edit. Now here's another concept. So in addition to creating the fragments in the parent-child relationships, we can create also many-to-many and many-to-one relationships between fragments. And in this case, we've created a many-to-one relationship with shipper, in which case we can go and select and change the shipper that we're using. So in the case we say we want to change it to be shipper 9 versus 3. We can save that relationship. And here we drill down even further into order details. And we have a similar setup for products. So we can go into product selection. And here you see the same filters and pagination that are available when you're managing a product are also available in the product selection. So here let's go and we'll do the same thing. We'll change it from 15 to 9. And we'll save it. Now what we'll notice is if we go back in our breadcrumbs, our filtering, our pagination, our sorting are all maintained. So it's easy to navigate back up to that parent level and continue to manage the data. So at a high level, that provides an overview of the demo application with regard to the modules that are included, some of the concept of application fragments and parent-child relationships, and many-to-many, many-to-one and many-to-many relationships between those fragments, all of which are detailed in other demos on the JDistil.com website. So for additional information, once again, refer to the JDistil.com website for detailed information on the framework, as well as other demos that leverage this JDistil demo application. Thank you.